Working Mason. He may look like a nerd, but he's the best hacker around.
Security grid online in 30 seconds. We're going after the Lions Den.
Dude, you just got out of the pen.
So we somehow managed to get unnoticed into the most secure casino in the city.
The most secure vault we've ever seen.
How the hell do we get away?
Well, for that, we got the best.
Wheels.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, Fayez. I'm Sarah from Dardasha.
I know. We met just before this happened. That might be really odd for us just to meet this and then
Yes. We've met just a few minutes ago.
Well, we had dinner actually at a Persian place.
That sounds more realistic.
Yeah.
I wanted to interview in this channel to tell people more about your work. Tell us about your work. What?
Okay. Primarily, I'm an actor. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, and
Cool.
everything else that you do.
Yeah. So I'm an actor.
Yeah.
I grew up in Reading to Yemeni parents. It's probably why I'm here, because you're Yemeni. We're both Yemeni. So I grew up in Reading, and my parents are both from Aden in Yemen. And then earned my degree, tried to pursue a more conventional career path before I realized, you know what, I want to be an actor. I went to drama school. I got into acting quite late. And now I've been an actor for the past just over 6 years.
Can I say that you are the first Yemeni actor that I meet here in the UK?
That's something. That is something. I'll take that.
Yeah, and that makes me feel proud.
I'll put that somewhere as an accolade.
And you're also an artist that illustrates children's books, right?
Whatever the project happens to be. So most recently, I think what you're referring to is I did a kid's story with another actor friend of mine, Tony McGeever,
Okay.
who a Scottish actor, and he wrote a kid's story during the COVID crisis.
Yeah.
And then he approached me to illustrate the story, and we got together and realized, okay, hold on, this could be an opportunity to raise funds for something, because, you know, people are complaining about COVID here.
Yes.
But what about in poorer places? And most significantly for me and for us was Yemen. It was actually, that wasn't actually something that was flagged up by Rahad, a friend of ours, a Syrian actress. And she said, well, you know, this could be an opportunity to raise money for Yemen, and I've wanted to do that for a while.
Yeah.
And this will be the first of a few things, I think. And so we got together and we realized, cool, let's get this published and use it as a means to raise funds on Kickstarter, Save the Children, for Yemen and what's happening over there.
Great. I'm going to share the link in my description.
Awesome.
How did that go? Did it go well? The donation?
Yeah. So for Tony is the guy who really he pitched it to Kickstarter. We got together, we did the whole thing, obviously.
Yeah.
And then he packaged up this nice video,
Nice.
just to get the message across to people what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's doing well.
So talking about Yemen here, what do you think of the division of Yemen, being north and south, or a whole Yemen? What's your thoughts?
I feel really underqualified to give too much comment on this, because I haven't been to Yemen since I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
So in a way and obviously I have an investment in Yemen, being that my extended family are there, my parents are from there. But honestly, when I speak about this, I feel like, okay, I'm just an outsider looking in.
But sometimes an outsider has a vision, and sometimes you can see even something better than what people there.
So let's say division always seems to be a bad thing. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And a nation divided is not as strong as a nation united. Let's say that.
Great.
Of course, though, the thing about unity is you can't force it. You force it, bad things happen.
Yes.
It's just a classic conundrum.
Yeah.
It's not unique to Yemen. It's difficult. What do you think?
I mean, I'm at the same position as you. I haven't lived in Yemen. But again, looking at the picture from outside, I would not want to see that division. And I wouldn't want a hate between people from north and people from south. I think definitely, us together will bring the best of Yemen,
Yeah, and this is where I would say, because There you go. She's Yemen. I'm Yemen. We're both Yemen. But you're also an artist. And that's another reason that. And this is where I think artists are in a powerful position potentially.
Yeah.
Because what unites a country is a culture.
Exactly.
When you have separate cultures, you have friction between the two cultures. If you have a one unifying culture, you can still have diversity within the culture. And how is culture shaped? It's shaped through how people think and feel. And how do we affect that? It's really the arts that affect how people think and feel. Whether you're talking about literature, or you're talking about film, or you're talking about art, poetry, music.
Yeah.
So I think there will be more and more artists that we see emerge from that region. And also, I would like to think it would be valuable for people in the West, like me, of Yemeni origin, to also be part of that as well, just to raise awareness. But I think that's an important role that artists will play in unifying a region. It is forging together to create a culture.
Definitely. I mean, you also rap as well and write poetry. What motivates you? What's the motivation that gets you started? What's behind your poetry?
It's here. You can't really. It doesn't. It's not on. It's not.
So it's not a situation that you'd live and bring that out from you.
Well,
or
of course,
is
it's that, but the love for the medium. Like
Okay.
why some people choose. Why do some mediums speak to some people? You know.
Yeah.
Why do some painters move some people and not others? And it's the same thing. Like for me, hip hop was the thing growing up, and a love of wordplay and a love of emphatic speeches. And it's not just rap. Like I look at anyone who gives good speeches, and it was rousing and it's amazing, which then to me marries in with good acting.
Yeah.
And being given an amazing monologue. When you're talking about Shakespeare, you're talking about something contemporary. Just to deliver something that and it's not music, it's not singing, it's just speaking, and it nearly breaks you because it's that powerful. And there are great examples of that in cinema, but also in the real world, politically. And they're not all good examples. You can mention Martin Luther King, you can mention Adolf Hitler. We all know of moments, and we can all think of examples of people speaking, and it hits you here. And in my opinion, hip-hop at its finest, poetry at its best, rap at its best, it does the same thing. Acting does the same thing, and that's always been a thing that I was moved by.
Definitely. I mean, that brings me to another question. Do you think Shakespeare was politically correct?
But that's the thing, because political correctness isn't a constant that was established from the beginning of time. We always shift the goalposts.
Yeah.
So by today's standards, no. Obviously not. The way he talks about Jews and minorities, and by today's standards, no.
Yeah.
But by his standards of the day, actually even by his standards, he was a controversial guy. He was pushing boundaries, but not in the way, but perhaps not in the ways that he would be now.
Yeah.
So no, but I mean, I think maybe the more interesting question would be like, does that invalidate the art? Is it Huckleberry Finn? Is it? I don't know. Maybe Jules. They're one of the American great pieces of literature. The dog's name is the N-word. I don't know. Maybe do you know? Is it Huckleberry Finn? No. Yeah. But anyway.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, that's actually. Where do we stand with that? Do we edit? Do we censor that?
Yeah.
Do we acknowledge that for what it is? Because it is part of human history. I don't know.
What do you think of today's society? What do you think of the BAME?
Let's just say that. What do you think of today's society?
What do you think
It's
of
good.
the BAME label, let's
Oh,
say?
okay.
I mean, the Black, Asian, minority ethnic groups. Is it too much of a blanket term? What's your thoughts?
It's a reference to a demographic that needed representation. I think it was an acronym that was invented for good reason, with good intention.
Okay.
Can it be used in blanket ways? Yeah, I'm sure. Could it be ironically used to marginalize people when it was meant as an inclusive thing? Yeah. I honestly think it's just down to how it's used.
I mean, I personally think it divides people again,
Okay.
But that's just my personal opinion. But what about you as a person? Have you ever felt that you've been treated differently because of colour, religion?
Yes, definitely.
background?
Yes.
Did it affect you in the film industry? Did it give you a different role? Did it give
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah. It definitely gives. But also that comes with...
benefits?
yeah, of course. Like, there's jobs I've landed because... and in fact, you know, because it's my casting.
Yes.
They were looking for a brown guy of my age and my look.
Yeah,
So that can land you jobs.
yeah.
I generally don't like... I know the question you're asking and where it's going, but I honestly... I might disagree with most people about this. Like, I can potentially come up with examples of times where I felt marginalized. And those things need to be aired and whatever. But at the same time, there's a balance. Airing the injustices, but also not painting yourself as a victim. Like, I'm also blessed, you know. It's also good. And it's also how you carry yourself. And in the end, even if people have prejudices,
Yeah.
I do believe you can carry yourself in such a way where people will respect you, and you'll become undeniable. You know, even in a culture that wants to marginalize you. I don't think nitpicking about all these instances where I was made to feel less
Yeah.
is the way. I know it happens. Cool, it does. Yeah, it's happened to me. Good, fine. I'm not gonna cry about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not an actor, but
Yeah.
I did experience some sort of, you know, feeling different in a way. In university, at work, at some places as well. But in a way, I feel like I am just a stronger person, you know,
There you
out of
go.
it.
Good.
I'm not just going to cry out, you know, about it.
Yeah.
No, I will just use it to become someone who's stronger, and I know how to approach other people that have those thoughts and limit thoughts, I'd say. I'm sure a lot of people would want to ask you this question, so let me ask you myself. Have you portrayed a terrorist?
Yes.
And do you ever worry that you could enforce negative stereotypes?
I wouldn't say worry about it. I say that I'm aware that I don't want to do that. So for me, it's not about the role, it's about the writing.
Okay.
I'd say that is the thing that I'm more concerned about. I will gladly play a terrorist if the writing is intelligent and the story is not a vehicle for ignorance and it's actually insightful. It's genuinely an authentic or original or creative take on something. And as a story, as a project, it's worth doing. I'll play a terrorist, I'll play a villain, I play bad guys all the time. Does that mean that I advocate people who kill and do terrible? No, it doesn't. If the writing is good, I'll do it because the broader intention behind the project is worthwhile. If the writing is bad and it's just, you know, some really one-dimensional take on a subject, then no, I don't want to do that. But then I wouldn't even want to be, you know, a non-terrorist. I wouldn't even want to be, you know, the lead who's completely, you know, with no specific ethnic background. I wouldn't want to be any character in bad writing. Whereas I'd gladly be an ethnic minority, a terrorist, a Muslim, a corner shop owner, in good writing. Having said that, of course, you want ideally, you want an interesting role in an interesting, intelligently written project. So,
Yeah. I mean, now I could also ask you this, where I would say...
you could, but are you going to?
I am going to.
All right.
How do you bring your own creativity if you are working from a script?
Well, that's the thing. That's what you're paid to do. Because the script is the scaffolding. The script is the words. But then how do you... It's the scaffolding. What do you do then with it?
Yeah.
What's your brickwork like? How are you gonna do your interior, the exterior? What crazy fabric are you gonna drape over this thing to make it look interesting? All they give you is the black and white print.
Okay.
You can't read it like a robot. Where's the intention? How are you gonna make it come alive? It's just...
Have you ever changed the script?
Yeah. With permission, or sometimes it just happens off the cuff and the director might like it.
Yeah.
But the notion that if they give you a script, there you go, the actor's work is done. No, the writer's work is done.
Yeah.
The actor's work just begins. Because then you've really got to make this your own, and you've got to think laterally. And you've got to come out with fresh eyes and fresh intention. And that is a tricky thing, because say they're auditioning 100 people with the same script.
Yeah.
You've got to do it in such a way where you stand out, and you're reading the same lines. And how are you going to do that? So yeah.
Amazing. Do you prefer acting on a stage or live or on camera?
It's hard to, I prefer, if I've been doing one for a long time, I prefer the other.
Okay.
Like, it's just the way, because you end up missing it.
Yeah.
There's so many things about being live. I know some actors who just absolutely say on stage every time. Because, and I know why. It's because there's the immediate feedback. The electricity is unmatchable. Standing behind the curtain just before your cue. And also there's this rigorous rehearsal process for weeks and weeks. And the raucous applause afterwards. All the rewards are immediate.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's an electricity right there. So I get that. But on screen you can afford to be detailed. You can be small. It matters when you draw breath, where you look, what your eyes do, what your fingers do. Like, the camera picks up everything. And you can be so detailed, so both.
Amazing. I mean, I like to change, to do different things from time to time as well.
It's good to do different things. If nothing else, what the viewers will get from this is that it's good to do different things.
Indeed. One final question,
Yes.
or not even a question,
All right.
like done with questions. A message that you would want to say, especially to people from Yemen that are watching us.
That you're not forgotten, that the West isn't entirely ignorant of you and what you're going through, and that there are people from your land, maybe, disconnected in many ways, like I am, like I'm so British in my way, that still seek to represent you, and want to work with you as well,
Thank you. That would be the best message. I mean, I would like people to hear out there. If I would want to say something, I'd probably just copy what you said and say it out loud. Thank you very much, Fayez, for talking to me. It's been a pleasure.
It's been my pleasure.
And I'll share the links of the donation when you give me the name on the description there for people to donate. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Yeah. They told me isolate, so I'm just sat in it silently. Took a giant breath and now the planet's inside of me. My inner population panicking violently. There's killers on these streets and they're transmitting virally. I'm sanitizing all sides of me. The killer and the kill, that's the shadow and light in me. Just try to see from all these different angles, the planet with its drama. Now it's my inner battle, until my inner master unshackles my inner Django. I got inner warring nations, I supply them both with ammo. Inside I'm nervous, still trying to hang though. My inner gangster trying to prove he lets him bang though. My inner backpack battle rapper still wearing Kango. A single loaded barrel on the floor when there's a scramble. I'm in a trap within my inner trap. Slap bang in the middle of a scrap with 3 kids with straps. I'm in a trap, I'm in a chat. My inner shrinking, inner patient. I'm in a situation, in a conflict with my nature. In a sense I'm the victim, in a sense the instigator. In a sense I'm innocent.